All right, so today we're doing a deep dive on Deborah Perrier.
Okay.
She's a candidate for the People's Party of Canada in Prescott, Russell, Cumberland.
Interesting.
And we're looking at excerpts from her candidate profile here
Okay.
to get a sense of, her background,
Right.
her values, and really what makes her tick as a political candidate.
Yeah. What are her
What
motivations?
motivates her exactly.
Yeah.
So right off the bat,
Well, and she's got a history in caring professions, right? 30 years as a nurse
right,
and now a federal service employee.
huge amount of experience.
Yeah. Dealing with the public-facing role.
Yeah, so the profile really highlights
Oh, it does.
compassion and integrity as core values, which, given the nursing background,
Seems to make sense.
it makes sense,
Yeah.
right? But how do you think that actually plays out
Right.
in the political sphere?
Yeah. Because politics can be pretty contentious.
It can be.
And so, how do you balance those values?
How do you actually apply those?
Yeah.
In such a, sometimes messy field.
Well, think about it in nursing. You're always facing, ethical dilemmas.
Right.
You have to balance compassion with procedures and, limited resources.
Budgets.
Exactly, budgets.
So maybe we see that come through.
Yeah, maybe she's got that kind of nuanced decision making.
Right.
Like when she's thinking about, budget allocations for social programs or things.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so the profile also mentions her guiding principles:
It does.
faith, freedom, peace, and patriotism.
Yeah, those are kind of bigger picture ideas, aren't they?
They are broader strokes.
Yeah. How do those fit in with the more personal things like compassion and integrity?
Right, right.
Well, I think it suggests a framework, Like her personal values might be how she approaches those big principles.
Yeah.
Like, for example, her compassion maybe shapes how she understands what peace really means
Right.
or freedom,
Yeah.
especially in different communities.
For different people.
Exactly.
So she also emphasizes fairness, respect, responsibility, opportunity, and hope.
It's a big list.
It is. It's a lot.
There are a lot of values there.
Almost like promises.
Yeah. What stands out to you from those, given what we know about her?
I think opportunity really jumps out,
Yeah.
especially because of that public service background.
Right. She's probably seen a lot of barriers that people face,
Yeah.
trying to get ahead.
Preventing them from thriving.
Right. Exactly.
It makes you wonder what her specific ideas are.
Yeah. Like, how is she going to level the playing field?
How would she actually make that happen?
Yeah.
So her motivation seems to come from a real commitment to community well-being and caring for others.
It does.
And the profile highlights her being a mother and a grandmother.
Right.
It seems like that's a driving force.
That makes sense. Wanting a better future for her family.
In families.
Yeah, for families in general.
How do you think that personal motivation might shape her policies?
I'd imagine we'll see a focus on things that directly impact families, like maybe childcare support for seniors.
Right.
And the profile actually mentions family support specifically.
It does.
It'd be interesting to see what she actually proposes there.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So it also mentions parliamentary reform
Okay.
and individual freedoms as key areas.
Interesting. How do those connect to the unity and progress ideas?
Right.
Well, if we think about the fairness and opportunity piece,
Yeah.
maybe she sees parliamentary reform as a way to make sure everyone's voice is heard,
Right.
more equally,
More equitably, yeah.
which could lead to a more unified and progressive society.
Makes sense.
And the focus on individual freedoms could come from a belief that empowering people is how we make progress.
Okay, so based on this profile,
Yeah.
it seems like we have a candidate who's spent her career caring for people,
It does.
and now she wants to apply that on a bigger
Or
scale,
much wider scale.
the political stage.
Exactly.
It seems like her values of compassion and integrity and those principles of faith and freedom are really driving her to push for fairness,
Yeah.
respect opportunity, especially for families.
Families and individuals.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're seeing someone whose background in nursing and public service
Right.
is informing how she's approaching this.
Yeah. That's a really interesting lens to look through.
Yeah, it really is.
When you think about her commitment to community well-being and the causes she's advocating for.
It's a really interesting question to think about.
It is.
How someone whose career has been all about caring for individuals
Right.
and, public service.
Yeah.
How do they then approach these big political decisions?
It's complex.
Really complex issues.
Yeah.
So it's this fascinating mix of personal experience
Yeah,
and political ambition.
absolutely.
Really interesting stuff.
A lot to think about.
Thanks for diving deep with us.
First, thanks for having me.